these can't be real reactions because they're being recorded. How can you give a genuine reaction when you know you're being recorded? And that became the purpose of my channel, to be actual reactions. My older videos, I used to really downplay them. So something amazing would happen and I just wouldn't move. I'm more of a just basic, get the idea across bass player. I just want, it's about the song. It's not about what I'm doing. What fits the song best here? What links the guitars to the drums is how I always saw it. It's like, all right, what notes are you playing? What beat are you playing? I can figure out what I need. But that's the weird thing about being a reactor is, you know, I'll be at a party and you bring me drops. Like, do you want to hear it? It's like, no. No, I don't want to hear it. I'm going to be doing a video. Yeah. Yeah. So it's such a strange way to live. You know, being so passionate about music and hiding from it 90% of the time.
So my guest today is a fellow internet content creator in the alternative rock and metal scene, all the way from Australia. And I'm very interested to know what inspired them to create their channel in the first place and how they absorb all of the constant evolving metal and rock music scene that we have in the world these days. So welcome, RoguenJosh. Thank you for joining me. And to start, I suppose, for people who are watching or listening who have not watched your channel as yet, how would you describe your content to them?
I'm a reaction channel, basically, for metalcore music, but I specialize in underreacting.
Okay, which means
really trying to be authentic and genuine and have actual reactions, because nothing irks me more than watching someone else's video and they're just, oh my God, you know, and throwing things. And yeah, so really trying to rein it in as much as possible.
It does seem to be somewhat split, I suppose. There are those, I think they're called entertainment reactors.
Yeah.
And they're more perhaps critical, detailed sort of side of things. There probably is a cross section, I imagine.
Yeah.
But yeah. What inspired you to start doing reaction videos in the first place? Was that when you started your channel, or did your channel evolve into that?
I've been doing content stuff since about 2010. I was like an early podcast listener with gaming stuff. So a lot of Giant Bombcast back in the day, and the IGN podcasts and GameSpy debriefings, like old Penny Arcade, I think was my first podcast, the Penny Arcade DLC in like 2008, 2009 kind of times. I was doing Minecraft videos on YouTube in like 2011. God, I wish I'd kept doing that at the time. I did 3 and then stopped. And, you know, if I had known what everything turned into. But yeah, I was in a band from 2004 to 2012 called Capulet. And in 2019, Anne Boleyn, that we'd played with in the past, did a comeback tour in Australia and invited us to do a comeback show with them, because we've played in the past. Our manager was friends with them and their management. So we were on the comeback trail at the end of 2019. So I started my channel January 2020 with the intention of doing bass covers to promote the band. And also I was Twitch streaming since 2018, doing like Destiny and Anthem at the time. So the channel was to be bass covers, like Amorosa and Amity Affliction kind of stuff, to promote the band and the Twitch. And then, 2 months in.
What happened in 2020? I can't think of anything that might have derailed that.
My channel became a main focus for some reason. And since we only played the one show, because then we didn't get a chance to do more. And during lockdowns, our singer moved to another state. The next state over, but in Australia, that's 9 hours away. So,
oh my God.
Yeah. So, but the reason I started Reaction, so that's what the channel started as. Bring Me the Horizon, one of my favorite bands of all time. I've always loved them. They're my age. Actually, I've spoken to Ollie, but we couldn't figure it out. We think he went to my primary school, because he went to primary school in Adelaide for a year. And he said he was going to ask his mum, and that's the last I ever heard of it. But always loved them. They're my age. I'm 37. I don't know how old you are, but I'm
also 37.
Hey, fantastic. Hey. Look at us. Ollie's like our age, like exactly. So as as their music has aged, I felt like it's aged with me. So they're always right on my target demographic. And when Ludens came out, I initially listened to it. I only listened to about the first 40 seconds and I didn't like it. And I didn't listen to it again. And then I've got a music chat and the guys were kind of posting these videos and they're like, there's all these videos of people crying listening to the new Bring Me the Horizon song because it's heavy again. And I was like, what is that? So I went and watched it and it was reaction videos. And when the breakdown comes in, there was 3 or 4 where the people were like emotional because they're like, after Ammo, Bring Me the Horizon heavy again.
Right.
And from watching those reaction videos, I fell in love with the song because watching people get emotional about it, listening to people, talk about the lyrics and, the musicality, the changes, referencing, people have done the research into how it was tied into the gaming scene and everything. And it made me love the song. And it made me appreciate reaction videos because I understood like, oh my God, I love this song so much more because I've like, these people have shared what they like about it. And that's become the reasons I like the song. It was my favorite song of the year. From being a song I didn't even listen the whole way through to being one of my favorite songs of all time. And I feel that it was because of all the emotion that I kind of absorbed through reaction videos. From that, I started doing reactions.
So what was the pivot that made you go, I want to be a part of, or I want to be on the other side of it and not just then consume a lot of reaction content yourself because you got a lot out of it? Why did you then go, I'm going to turn that on myself?
I was watching more and more reaction videos. It's when Popular Monster came out as well. So I was like watching all these reaction videos to that. And then my wife kind of was watching some and she's like, these can't be real reactions because they're being recorded. Like they know they're being recorded. Okay. So how can you give a genuine reaction when you know you're being recorded? And that became the purpose of my channel, to be actual reactions. So if you watch some of my older videos, I used to really downplay them. So something amazing would happen and I just wouldn't move. I used to be really proud of, there was a couple of like Nightwish compilations of reactors reacting to the same moment. And there's all these people going nuts. And then it went to me and I just went, oh. So the start of the channel, what I thought was going to set me apart was I was going to be like the real actual, like what an actual reaction looks like without playing it up. But I was also going to do mostly Australian music was my goal. So I started with Amity Affliction, which turned out to be a huge problem because my first ever video got hard blocked, like red eye. So my first like welcome to the reaction scene was a blocked video and I didn't know what to do about it. So my first year of videos, when I watch them back, I pause every 20 seconds because someone told me that's what you have to do. I talk constantly and they're horrible. So I really kind of hamstrung my channel in that first year trying to avoid copyrights until I learned how to get past them and everything else later. But so it was a really rocky start to the channel. And the Australian thing, I never thought I'd get a request for a song. And as you know, every video you just get inundated.
It's not a problem.
No. So but that was really exciting at first, the idea of people actually asking me to listen to songs. So I got really sidetracked by that. I tried to do every song that someone requested as well. So it was a learning experience when I was finding my feet in the beginning.
I can relate to a lot of that. Yeah, I got sidetracked too. I mean, I have a wide range of musical interest, so I was quite happy to be sidetracked into like, check out this amazing diva singer from the Philippines. I'm like, sure. But it meant that the channel was kind of chaotic and YouTube didn't know what to do with it. And my real love is heavy rock music. So I've ended up focusing more on that over time. But you're right, when you hit record on a camera, even you're like, this is going to be real, you still sort of feel the pull of, oh my God, I'm being recorded. But how do I be naturally myself when you know it's every frame is being, put together on a video that's going to go online? If it changes it in your head, it takes you a while to get used to it, right?
It does. I've completely pivoted my content over the last 18 months. So I'm 100% live stream reactions now because it's more real. I'm with people, like in chat, and I'm enjoying it with them, and I'm enjoying it a lot more. And you can tell from the videos. I find if I go back and watch some of my older videos that were pre-recorded, I'm like, what was I trying to do? I just, it's a different vibe. And I still do. I do an album reaction every week that's pre-recorded for Patreon, but that's different because it's Patreon. I'm not trying to get views or anything. It's just for the community. It's relaxed and it's a lot of fun. Whereas when you're trying to pre-record a video, to be a YouTuber and get views, I feel like it's very different. And this is something we can talk about later. But I got really bogged down with the analytics and the what to do with thumbnails and all of that. The more I did, the less I enjoyed it. So these last 18 months, 100% live stream reactions. And it's just a lot more fun. I think the videos are a lot better, a lot more real because it's, I'm not faking anything. That's what happened on stream is how it feels.
Yeah, because on stream, when it's live, it is more of a conversation and less of a broadcast. And they are different feels. If you're on your... I've had moments where I'd record, which sometimes I do now, but mostly now I'm also doing it live on Twitch.
Yeah.
If I do a local recording with nothing on Twitch, at the end of it, like I might have just heard an incredible song that I adore, and I start the recording, I'm like, I've got no one to ask, what did you think? Wasn't that cool? What did you like? It's just me alone in a room. Whereas on Twitch, you have all of the conversation. People go, that was amazing. And people going like, I hated it. I'm like, that's cool too.
Yeah. And that's good because that gives you something to talk about. When there's criticism on something, then you can either agree or disagree or explore. So that's always great as well.
Yeah, 100%. So you've pivoted entirely to do live then. How does that work in a logistical sense with your life? How do you manage your time doing the Twitch lives around family and the other parts of life? Do you work full time as well, or is it? I do.
Content? So I've got 3 kids. So a daughter that's 9, and then 2 sons. One is 6, one is 1.5. And it's since my 3rd son was born that the content changed to completely live, just because of the time constraint with having 3 kids. And I've got a full-time job. I work for a bank, and I've done that since 2009. So that's full-time. And my wife's a dentist, so she's got the important job in the house, really. So I'm kind of the support in that way, in a gaming term, the support character. But so what I do is I basically work for content creation 1 day a week, which is split into 3 shifts. So Tuesday night is stream night. Everything's done once the kids are in bed as well. So it doesn't affect them in any way. They don't even know, when it's happening, what's happening. So Tuesday night, once the kids are all in bed, it's stream night. Thursday night, I edit. So I take all my songs. The way I do it as well is I pick my favorite songs out of the stream. During my stream, I rate them with the RPG loot ratings. So I've got like gold, purple, blue, green, gray.
Nice.
And then I love it. I feel like it's not a number. It's just, it works for me. And then so I'll put my favorite songs. I try to get 1 a day onto my main channel. And then I have a second channel because I used to do pre-recorded reactions on my main channel. And when I started streaming, I initially saw the stream reactions as lesser. So I put them on a second channel because I didn't want them to muddy the main channel.
Right.
But then, as I got better with it and, stopped getting sidetracked with chat and upsetting people on YouTube with things like that, I kind of altered the stream content to be more YouTube friendly. And then over time, so now I have a second channel, but I put my favorite songs from the stream on main channel, and then the purple tier, purple to blue, epic to rare songs on the second channel.
Nice. That's I'm feeling a lot of that myself. What I even asked a question in my community in the new year: do you just want the bangers on this channel, or do you want everything, including the ones that are like meh? And I was totally expecting the majority to be like, just give me the banger. Because people are discovering new music through our channels, which I never expected. I've never thought to look at the reaction of a song. I don't know yet, but that seems to be what a lot of people do. And the overwhelming majority was people wanted everything, including the ones that are meh. And I'm like, really? But you might click off at the first 30 seconds. I'm like, I don't think that's what you, but apparently that's what people want. So it sounds like you've got a version of that, which I'm trying to do as well, which is the main channel is going to have what I consider to be the bangers. I have a secondary channel where it all goes. So the Twitch recordings, I just upload them. But I think there probably is a space for an in-between, which is clipped non-bangers as its own kind of thing. But some of it, that's time, right? To actually clip all that out.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I've only got like 1 3-hour shift to kind of get all my editing done for both. And that's, editing the whole stream, thumbnails, uploads, scheduling, all of it. So I've mastered the system to get it down to 3 hours. And then the other shift is just an album on a Sunday night where I just record an album reaction, upload it to Patreon. But I was going to say the problem that I don't know if you're coming across this. I upload my favorite songs from each stream and 100% requests as well. So I never decide what songs are going to go on my channel. It's 100%
that's
audience
wild.
Driven. It takes the pressure off. That's the other thing I've been loving. Whenever I was like trying to find like what's the song that's going to get views and like, looking at other reaction channels, which videos get views, I wasn't enjoying it. A lot of those I just never posted because I didn't like the song. Bandmade, I've never liked a Bandmade song.
I love Bandmade. I've not listened to them in ages, but I dug it.
I reacted to 6 or 7. I've never made it. I've made it through one full song, which is the first one. I never made it through an entire song again. So,
wow.
Yeah, but what happens is,
that's all right.
Oh no. Because I never make it through, and because I'm only putting my favorite songs, people only ever see me loving things. So I've seen on Reddit. I've Googled myself a couple of times to be like, what's out there? And I've seen a couple of forums on Reddit where it's like, he just loves everything.
Right.
So what's the
that's
point?
the risk.
But if you come on my stream, I'm very negative often. If there's something I don't like, sometimes it's the band there saying, hey, can you listen to our song? And I'm kind of listening to it. I'm like, this sounds like 3 other bands. Like, there's nothing new here. The recording isn't any good. Why would you ask for a reaction to this? You should be so I can be very negative, but it doesn't make it to YouTube because I don't want to put the negativity out there. I don't know if you saw the drummer, I forget his name. He's like the big YouTube drummer that can incredible fast. You're a drummer, so surely you know him.
It's got to be Craig Reynolds from Straight from the Path. Maybe
no,
the Downbeat
but I love the downbeat.
Guy?
I love the downbeat. Oh my God, I'm on his Patreon. It's my favorite.
You're talking about LS Tapario.
Yeah, and he's got the new band Not For Me.
Yeah. They're called The Cost, actually. The
Cost.
song was called Not For Me. I know
and it was Not For Me.
It was also, I think I gave it a solid. I think the song was all right, but nothing interesting, nothing new. I got that he was trying to show, listen, I'm not just a machine gun on the drums. I also can play for the song. But he didn't even do enough playing for the song. And the snare sound he had for me was just a bit flat and uninteresting. It didn't really work for me. Yeah, but it was still like, the song was fine.
It was okay. I didn't like it at all, but my criticism on it mostly was he posted it from his channel to his fans, and the title was My Band's First Single. So when you're making it all about, it's on my channel, it's going to my community, and it's my band's first single, and you listen to it, and there's no you in this at all. This could be computerized drums that they've just sent you and said, what do you think? And you're just playing along to it on the film clip. So if we're here because we love you and what you do, why is there none of that in the music? So, that video, I got into it kind of early as well because someone requested it just after it posted. So I could have gotten out there early, but I don't want to put out any negative stuff because it's mean. Those bands see that, and then I wouldn't want to watch someone being negative on a song that I liked, or even a song I didn't like. I just wouldn't want to watch negative content. So I don't put any of that out there. And then the criticism is, he just decides he likes everything. So I don't know if you come across that or how you handle that.
So it's a really interesting discussion. And I haven't come across that yet, but I've only really pivoted this year to only having my rating system is similar to you. There's a color scheme and it's more vague. It's not like a numbered system, but the middle is solid. It's a solid song. All of my ratings are pretty positive because I'm a fairly positive person. Yeah. And if it's above that, it's delicious, which means this is the kind of song I'd be like, I'd message my friend saying, you've got to check this out. This is absolutely delicious. This is great. And then there's masterpiece, which is like God tier, reserved for the likes of sleep token mostly.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be scrumptious after delicious.
I mean, I missed a trick there, right?
Oh, no.
And then below solid is like halfway decent, which is still like, it's not bad. It's just there's some things I like, but overall it's not there yet. And then at the bottom is just not for me. It's not even that it's shit. It's like, I'm not the audience, or I don't like it. There's a lot of subjectivity in this, and that's fine. And so only the delicious or the masterpieces end up on the main channel.
Oh, beautiful. So the same system.
I've now got to that point. Because again, certainly if it's a smaller band, I don't want to put out an criticism of them publicly. I don't think that's constructive or helpful. I want smaller bands to be encouraged, like keep going. If they ask me to review one of their songs or react to it, I will. And on the stream, I'll do that. And it would be a very real conversation. Like, there's always some things I like that I want to like encourage, and there's other things maybe it's just not for me, which is fine. But I'm not going to like put that on YouTube to be like trying to, I don't know, earn money or views or subscribe from being critical of a smaller band. But if it's a larger band and a notable release, like Bring Me the Horizon comes out with a new song and it's a pop country song, I might put that, even if I don't think it's delicious, I might. I'm all for that as well. I might think it's delicious. If I don't think it's for me, I think it's an interesting enough conversation to have online that I might put that out there. But I wouldn't be doing it in a mean way. I'm just not wired that way. It might be critical, but I think there's room for that conversation. But I don't feel it's useful enough to have that kind of critical conversation for up-and-coming bands somehow. That's kind of the line I draw.
I feel like we've probably both got the same kind of mindset where, as you said before, people finding music through us, it's like, when people come to the channel, if there's a new video of a band they haven't heard, I want them to have that faith of this is going to be a good song.
It's worth your time.
Yeah,
in some way.
Yeah, I want to hear this. It is tricky. I heard a game reviewer recently saying that the reason the reactions are probably going so well is with a game, you know, you got to sink 6 hours, 8 hours, 20 hours into a video game to get what you need out of it. So you have these reviewers that do the groundwork, then give you the, is this worth your money and your time? With a song, there's not much you can give that isn't better than them just listening to the song. Because the song, you know, they'll get the gist if they're going to like it or not in 30 seconds. So it's the discovery aspect of discover music through us, but also we're listening to it with you. So rather than reviews, I think this is why reactions are so good, is because they're doing that. They're listening to it, but they're also getting our review at the same time. So it's kind of a double up of the content and the value for them.
Yeah.
Because, you can write 500 words on a song. They can listen to the song and decide what they think faster than reading that. Yeah.
Yes. And there's a value to seeing, both someone else's reaction in real time, especially if they are a genuine person who's looking to be as authentic as possible, because your face won't lie about how you're connecting to the song, which is a really interesting part of it. And you will have potentially different context you're adding to it from either your knowledge of the music scene and other bands that you can compare to and see influences from. That's added value. Or, I mean, you're a bassist, so you might have added value, like you pointing out some things you notice in the bass that's happening. So it's more than just, this is a person that I share a lot of musical taste with, and therefore I might like the song, but there's something else that you add to it. I've seen some of your videos. How many times would you like hone in on the bass, and does that stick out, something you notice for the most part? Or
it happens a lot. I hope that my videos, like, it's not like, if you're a bass player, it's not a bass players only club, but what I'm hoping I'm doing is highlighting when something cool happens with bass and bass tone, because so often being a bass player in a band, showing friends and family as I'm growing up, I've got this new song, and having to be like, you hear that, like, duh, 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 duh. That's me. Like, can you hear that part? This part? No, that's the
unsung hero.
Yeah. So I really do, because I love bass. I don't like flashy bass either. It's like, I really find that it's the driving force behind the song. It's that connection of the beat to the song, to the music. And when there's a cool bass part, I always try to highlight it, and because I love it. So I'm not desperately searching for it. When I hear it, everyone knows, because I love some bass tone. So yeah, definitely.
I'm similar with the drums. I play a few instruments, as you might see in the background, but drums are first and foremost my main love. And so I'm usually compelled to highlight interesting drum things that happen. The number of times I'm highlighting what the hi-hats are doing specifically, or like some, syncopated rhythms on the cymbals, just because I love those details, and I want to show people like this is why that matters. This is why that contributes to your sensation of the sound overall. It's just kind of fun.
Yeah. I don't have to look for drums. Every second stream, the drummer from my band, Benny, sits in on the stream for the first half with me. So he's
that
was
going to be my question.
Yeah, he's in a lot of videos.
When do you decide when he comes in, or how does that naturally come into your plans?
It should be every second week, but we're both busy. He's got 2 kids as well. He's our age. He's like successful in work right now, especially very busy. So it should be every second week. He usually comes like the first hour of the stream, and then it's just what we do the requests in order. So when I'm choosing the ones I like, I'm not even looking at is Ben in or not in that video. So some weeks it's just when I'm doing the thumbnails that I go, oh wow, this is a Ben heavy week of adding him into these videos. Some weeks it's like, the first half of the stream, like none of those songs are great, so he's not going to be in the videos this week. So it's kind of how that works, but it's a cool dynamic having a second person in. I've also had a few people. I've got another streamer friend, Burden. He's been over here for a stream. He's another drummer, and another friend, a good friend that I've known since kindy, that is a singer or kindergarten. I don't know what everyone calls it. England and America, we say kindy here. Preschool, I guess.
We say preschool, yeah. Well, it would be preschool or nursery, depending on the age.
Yeah, so best friend since he's an acoustic singer-songwriter. So showing him, I don't have him over for streams, but when he's over, we'll come in and I'll be like, I have a few things to show you. So we'll go through like Slaughter to Prevail and, and Will Ramos like vocal playthroughs and stuff.
Right.
And he loves that. Being a vocalist that isn't really into the metalcore scene, the normal content is me just enjoying, the stuff that I live and breathe. But I love being like, I have something to show you. And bringing in a friend and saying, sit down and just, I'm here to react live to you reacting to this. So a lot of 2-person content has kind of just found its way into the channel over time.
I would imagine it's quite challenging on a practical level to have 2 folks. How would you know who's going to say what? Or I guess in that scenario, you're just letting them express themselves if you're introducing someone to a brand new thing. But for yourself and Benny, how do you think about the balance of not talking over each other, or how does that work?
I feel I'm probably more comfortable just because it's my setup and I do it every week, and I've been streaming and everything for a long time. Ben, because he's been, I think he was on my second ever music stream. So for as long as I've been doing music streams, he's been in here every, second or third week. But I guess I kind of take the role of host just because, again, it's my space and I'm used to it. And he just adds he's like the expert commentary, especially with drum stuff. Because I've never been a technical musician. I was all about performance. And we were a jam band because we were a band, 2004 to 2012. There's no home recording or anything like that. There's no computer writing. We're like jamming songs out and then going to a studio. There was no Spotify. We had a music video, and the idea wasn't even to put it on YouTube. We had it on like a hi-8 tape that we were sending to TV stations. So that was a different world then. But yeah, so having Ben, I forgot why I got onto that tangent then, but the Ben kind of as the expert drummer, I just throw over to him because I'm not technical. So he's an incredible drummer. So I just go like, what you'll hear me say, what's that timing? Like timing will change. And I'll be like, what is that timing? What have they done? Or, things like ghost notes and whatever else. So I love doing drum playthroughs, especially the Sleep Token, 2s playthroughs. I love watching those with Ben because his input on those. And Chris Turner's as well.
Oh yeah, he's a beast.
I've got the feeling of it, and I can appreciate how cool it is. But if you want anything technical, I need a drummer next to me that I can say, why was that good? Like that felt really good, but I don't know
that was good, but why?
Yeah. How did he do that? Yeah.
I think those are both really great perspectives, though. I wish in a way I could turn off the technical brain at times and just enjoy the wave of watching someone mastering a skill that I'm not as plugged into. Like, I wonder what it's like to watch two as a non-drummer, because people still do that and they love it, but that experience is fascinating to me. Whereas but also it is interesting to watch someone react to something who has the extra technical knowledge, because when they go like, oh my God, it's like, oh, that's not just something that sounds impressive. That is, for an advanced level drummer, that is way beyond. And that's kind of exciting. There's similar things in bass, although you've said you're not as into the kind of mad technical complexity side of bass. Like, are you familiar with the band called Dirty Loops?
No, but I was looking through your podcast feed today. I wanted to get a bit of a feel for the format and stuff. And I saw his, so that was like a live interview you did with him, wasn't it?
Yeah. So they played a gig in London. I interviewed him backstage, and he is like virtuoso monster on the bass, like absolutely insane. And there's, I mean, I find a joy in that. But equally, there's a joy to performative bass playing. Like, I mean, actually, I say this, I was to say Flea from Chili Peppers, but he's also quite complex and advanced in the way that he plays as well. But
I just saw Mudvayne live for the first time a couple of weeks ago. I've never seen
them live, but
years.
I want to.
Ryan Martinet is better than he's ever been. My God, he's unreal. So
Dig is one of the best metal songs of all time.
Yeah, I think Death Blooms is still my favorite Mudvayne song, but LD50, it's a top 10 album for me. I love Mudvayne. I wish I'd seen them in their prime, but I'm just so stoked that I got to see them at all. But watching him play bass, awesome. You know, and again, I don't have the technical aspect in that way. I play with a pick, which is sacrilege for a lot of bass players. I'm more of a Mark Hoppus bass player that plays like post-hardcore rather than punk. But if someone says we need a technical part here, I can just add more notes if that's what they want. Maybe
I'll
slap
double
a couple
pick.
times. Yeah.
Right.
But I'm more of a just basic, get the idea across bass player. I just want... It's about the song. It's not about what I'm doing. What fits the song best here? What links the guitars to the drums is how I always saw it. It's all right, what notes are you playing? What beat are you playing? I can figure out what I need in here. Watching someone like watching Mudvayne play and just watching his hands go wild is just like, that's another level. Yeah. I loved it.
No, that's cool. I'm similar when it comes to the guitars. I very much perform for this song. I would be just self-described as like a rhythm guitarist. I couldn't rock a single lead. So there's one song when I was in a pop punk band, I was the frontman guitarist, rhythm guitarist. And I had one song I put a solo in, and it is just a series of notes one after another. It's very basic. It's pop punk, so it's fine. And that, I think I played it correctly live once out of the dozens that I tried. Just not really got that skill. But same with bass. It's all plectrum, and it's from playing along with Blink or Noise for a Name or like punk bands and things.
Yeah, I lived for the stage, like absolute performance, wild man on stage. I tried to be a mix between Aaron from Amity Affliction, throwing the bass over my head, spins and everything. And who's the from Taking Back Sunday? They've got the just vocalist, not the guitarist singer, how he's just kind of like wild man throwing himself around the stage.
Yeah.
But
they played a gig
practice
in London, and he was swinging his microphone on the cable around his head, and he clocked the bassist in the face with it.
Ooh.
And he had to go off stage and get, I don't know why I'm laughing. It was kind of absurd. They had to stop the show.
Very rock.
Yeah. It's rock and roll until the bassist can't play anymore because he's like broke his nose.
Out of respect for bass, that's horrible, but for rock, that's sick. I love that story. But so with that energy, because I do that at practice as well. So if that's how we're writing by jamming and I'm rocking out at practice, then I need to be able to rock out on stage. So whatever I was writing had to be
playable whilst jumping around.
Yeah, throwing myself around a lot. So very basic. But now tell me how you're feeling. When you're at a show, I now just try to get in between the speakers, kind of in front of the mixing desk where you got the best mix, and then I'm just the old head at the back with my arms crossed enjoying it.
100%.
Yes.
When I was younger, I'd be trying to get to the barrier to be right in with it, and I'd deal with the crush. I wouldn't be in mosh pits, but I'd be ahead of them, where it's kind of tight. But this, you might just hear bass and kick drum and some cymbals and maybe a slight bit of vocals, but you don't get a good sound at the front generally. Whereas now, I'm at the back, easy access to the bar, and in between, because the sound mixer is going to mix it as well as possible for where he is.
For them, yes.
So that's 100%. Where you want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do feel like the old guy by doing that, but it's a better experience musically.
Yeah, I think Architects and Electric Callboy are 2 shows recently where I started doing the regular guy thing, and then a song came on, and I was like, see ya.
Oh, yeah.
I'm at the front. I'm going nuts. I feel a lot younger on the inside, I guess. So I think I got COVID from the Electric Callboy show, actually, because I got in the pit early and went wild. And then, 2 days later, I had COVID. So that was Electric Callboy. I had a great year of live music last year. We had Sleep Token, Papa Roach for the first time. My Vein was this year, but Electric Callboy. Yeah, I've been
they're
a big
fun.
Papa
They put
Roach
on a
fan.
fun show.
Yeah, it was incredible. Really enjoyed. They got
Papa
me into
Roach,
the front row.
I think Papa Roach are one of the most underrated bands. I think they got a bit of a reputation because they're kind of like the angsty, like, oh, life is difficult and I hate myself, and we're like dismissed them after the Last Resort big hit. But fucking hell, their discography is so solid throughout every album, and their live shows are amazing. They're
a top 5 favorite band for me. There are 3 albums in the middle where I fell off completely and then came back. So there was like the Paramount Sessions, Metamorphosis. They went through like a Vegas rock, Leather and Spikes. I think it's when they're on. Jacoby was really into drugs for a little while, and then I'm not religious at all, but when he found God and cleaned up, and they came back with like a positive energy, that was invigorating for me. Like I fell in love with them all over again. But I would definitely say Papa Roach, one of my favorite bands of all time. The middle of their discography sucks.
I suppose, is that the era with like Hollywood Horror? Is that when that was? Right. Yeah, I kind of know what you mean.
Yeah, I maybe listened to half of that song and just maybe if there was reaction channels at the time, I would have gotten into it.
Maybe. Who are you listening to these days? If you were to open up your Spotify, whatever it is you use, like who are your go-to like ones that you rinse?
Sleep Token at the moment is probably the biggest. That was the most listened to from last year. And then there's just the ones that I fall back on forever, like Linkin Park. I'll always listen to Architects. I'll always listen to a lot of Australian post-hardcore and rock. I still love Mission in Motion, City Escape. These are like smaller kind of Australian bands. The scene that like Polaris and Amity came from, but these were the bands that were kind of filling that scene. But I always, because we're listening to so much new music in a week, when it's time for me to listen to music, I want to listen to the stuff that I know I love. So like Broadway Kingdoms is one of my favorite albums of all time. Please tell me you know Broadway Kingdoms. It's got a Johnny Craig feature. It's got a Craig Owens feature, which is how I found it back in the day. Lower Definition was another amazing album that I loved, a great band. But yeah, like Holy Hell from Architects, I'll always go back to as a great one. Reanimation from Linkin Park. So yeah, when
that's
I'm
amazing.
Yeah, with the amount of new music that I listen to in a week, if it's not brand new stuff, I'm going back to stuff I've already heard 1,000 times just for kind of comfort food.
Do you also find the risk in the world that we live in that you don't want to accidentally listen to a song that someone might request and you might want to record yourself listening to? So you probably only listen to new rock music when you're live. Is that your experience?
100%. Yeah, that's the weird thing about being a reactor is, I'll be at a party and especially Benny, he's the ultimate. He's shown me all the bands I love. Ben has at some point been like, dude, check out this Dance Gavin Dance or check, Issues or whatever the bands that I really love now. He has shown me over the years, hanging out, pulls his phone out and he'll still do it where he's like, oh, new Bring Me drops. Like, do you want to hear it? Like, no, I don't want to hear it. I'm going to be doing a video. Yeah. So it's such a strange way to live, being so passionate about music and hiding from it 90% of the time. In the Discord, there's always people saying, oh yeah, my weekly list was amazing this week. And I was like, I have never listened to one of those.
Yeah, I can't.
No, it's impossible. It's the really strange part of being a reactor is that hiding from new music until it's recording time.
Yeah. I think I probably end up listening to actually less music than I used to, but I listen to it far more actively and attentively than I used to.
Yes. Yeah, I appreciate music more than I did. And there's also like when before I was a reactor, you've got the luxury of being able to just re-listen to something over and over again without having to concentrate. So there's a song you might not even know that you love.
It's a chance to grow.
Yeah, there's a lot of songs where it's like, oh, I love this song. And I hadn't even realized. It's just I've listened to the album a few times and this one's grown on me. There's something else really strange that I do that I've just realized recently. And this is another thing that comes from gaming. So like, Skyrim, one of my favorite games of all time, I've never finished because I'm scared that once I finish it, it's gone. Like I've done it. So I've never finished the main story, but I've put 600 hours into it. Sleep Token's album, it's on the wall behind. Oh, is it on the wall at the moment? I've taken it down. But, Take Me Back to Eden isn't just my favorite album that year. It made its way. It's like top 5 albums of all time for me. There's 2 or 3 songs that I've only listened to like once or twice because I'm scared that they'll lose their polish.
Oh, wow. That's discipline.
But I've listened to, Do You Wish That You Love Me hundreds of times, and Ascensionism hundreds of the other songs I've listened to ad nauseum. But then like Rain, Take Me Back to Eden, I'm scared to over listen to them because I don't want to lose the excitement that I still have. They're still new songs for me.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's
takes
something,
such discipline. I would find that very hard. I can't resist.
It is. It's a very strange thing that I've always done. The songs that once I love a song, I'll just keep listening to it. But then the album comes out and I'll be like, you know what? I'm going to keep listening to the ones that I like. And these other ones I'm going to listen to sometimes, rarely, as a treat for me. So
that's incredible.
Yeah.
I felt a bit of that pull when it came to the song Euclid off the album. Because that song is so special to me. That's the first time I've ever cried during a reaction. I've just never done that because I tend not to be that emotional. That completely got me, and I was so annoyed. I'm so a crybaby.
I am very proud to cry and show emotions. I am not sorry. That came out like, hey, I just can't control myself. But I cried to that song, and that's one of those songs I've listened to the most. I'll just keep asking, like, because we've got like I don't want to say, the rhymes with Erie and Erexa or whatever. Like, I don't want to say them. Things will go off right now. Yeah, but those are the ones I ask for constantly, especially because like Euclid, that's a good one for around the house, around the family. Put that on, and that's probably why Euclid and Do You Wish That You Love Me are the ones I've heard the most because I just play them around the house all the time with the kids and my wife and stuff.
Yeah, my wife, unfortunately, can't get on board with Sleep Token. She loves, alternative rock and metal, and she just doesn't like the voice, and so she just doesn't like it. And it's so sad. I can't listen to Sleep Token in the house, but that song, she's like, actually, that song's amazing. And
you should take that as a gift, though. If my wife was like heaps into Sleep Token, I'd be like, well, if you're feeling the way about Vessel's voice that I'm feeling, I'm worried. That's
well, if you can relate too much to it. I was worried with Euclid that was such a powerful first listen experience. I'm like, if I listen to that too many times, I'm going to lose that feeling. And at least with what we do, we've captured it on video. I can always watch that and vicariously through my past self experience it for the first time again in a way. But I found, you do you, but all of the songs on that record I've listened to hundreds of times, and the sheen has not come off any of them.
All right, tomorrow I'm just going to power through Rain and Take Me Back to Eden on repeat.
Rain is one of my favorite songs off that record. It's just epic. The way in the first verse. It's kind of gentle, and then it kind of switches gear, and the groove comes in, and the vocal rhythms. It's just amazing. And then the chorus, it's so badass.
So I'll make a playlist tomorrow and I'll just listen to those two. And at the end of the day, I'll let you know if it's ruined it or if I'm still excited about them.
I don't want to. I really hope I've not ruined it if you do that. But yeah, no, Sleep Token are god tier currently in terms of music for me, I think.
I just keep listening to them. And going back to their old stuff was exciting. Just seeing, I don't want everything. I feel like everything turns into Sleep Token lately. It's just they're such an exciting band. And when you go back and watch their first music video and listen to their stuff, you know, it's like they were always this good. It just took a while for everyone to find them. When you're first listening to their old stuff, it's like they knew what they were doing. They had a clear vision. It's just that their means have caught up to them, whereas the vision is getting clearer and clearer. So, you know, the masks are getting better, except for I don't like the new masks. So... I just don't like Twos. I love the other ones. Two's got like the shrunken head.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, you're right. It does look like a shrunken head thing. Yeah, it's an interesting choice with the kind of dreadlock ponytail. I don't know. I don't mind it. It's fine. I'm not connected to their image so much, so I don't really care how they present themselves. The one that made me raise my eyebrows the most was the one that now has red hair. That's such a standout image compared to the rest, which I like that it's showing a bit of individuality. But I thought the whole point was that they were a collective that weren't so individual. But
I know he's the bass player. He's my favorite. So, it's 3. Seeing him live. The other thing that shocked me seeing them live was, they're yelling out to the crowd. They're like talking,
they're passionate about what they're doing.
Kicking. Yeah. Vessel, actually, I was at the lucky show where Vessel stuffed up and laughed. It's like the one time it ever happened. He started singing like just the wrong song. He started singing the wrong intro to the wrong song, and it took him 2 or 3 sentences to realize, and he stopped, and then he just like cracked up, and it was like, I was here to see Vessel laugh. But it really humanized it. It was like a really nice moment where everyone just cheered. It was like, no one was like, oh, come on. It was like, this is the best. How have they marketed themselves so well that when they make a mistake, we're so happy we were there to see it. Yeah.
Like and they're quite playful as well. Someone threw up some like reindeer antlers and they're just like, yep, I'll wear those. Yeah. That was 4, put them on. Why not?
Yeah. I'm seeing them in a month. I forgot they're coming to Australia with Bring Me.
Nice. Yeah, what an insane gig that is. Have you seen Bring Me live before? I'm assuming you have.
I saw them at Soundwave, which was like a festival in Australia. It was the festival where we got to see all the good metalcore bands. But that was Sempiternal era, so I haven't really seen them since then. So that was a sick show. I remember they finished playing. This is something I get a lot of smack for. I went from Bring Me, and then I knew that Pierce the Veil were playing. So I was going from one side of the festival to the other, and I had to go past the main stage where Metallica were playing. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of walking past. I'm like, oh, Metallica's on. And they played One, which was the only Metallica song I knew. So I stood there and watched it. And then went, all right, on to Pierce the Veil. Now, in retrospect, Metallica. Like, that's the only band they were there for.
Yeah, but that's okay. I mean, I would be more with you. I respect Metallica and I enjoy some of their songs. And sure, if you have the opportunity to see them live, you should see them live. But also, if you're more into Pierce the Veil at the time, go see Pierce the Veil.
Yeah, well, that's what I did. I had a great night.
Yeah. I think that is entirely valid as a decision to make. I saw them in that era as well, just because Bring Me the Horizon, I saw them in Hamburg in Germany. I told my wife there's this new song called Shadow Moses by Bring Me the Horizon. It's amazing. You should check it out. And she's like, yeah, this is great. And she interpreted that as, Steve is now a massive fan of Bring Me the Horizon. I should surprise him with a trip to Germany to go see them live. I'm like,
unreal.
Which is unreal. Amazing thing to do. She's like, hey, I've got us tickets and flights. We're going to Germany to see Bring Me the Horizon live. And I'm like, okay. Yeah, I mean, great. But I know like one of their songs. She's like, oh shit. We went and it was amazing. Yeah. And Pierce the Veil were supporting. So I think it must have been of that time. And they were made, like they were backlit by LEDs. So they were just like silhouettes on stage, but Bring Me the Horizon. And it was so viscerally amazing and badass. It was absolutely incredible. I'm excited for you and your future self because they are currently putting on I think, the greatest rock show I've ever seen.
I'm so excited for it.
Good luck for that. Who's headlining?
I think Bring
are
Me.
they swapping?
I think it's
okay.
They might be swapping the posters. Bring Me, then Sleep Token.
That would make sense, I think. But yeah, Sleep Token are phenomenal.
Yeah,
Bring Me the Horizon are just unquestionable kings right now of live shows. It's unreal.
The last time they came to Australia, I had a ticket and the show got cancelled. So we got refunded and then they rescheduled and I couldn't get a ticket for the next show. My brother went and just was like, it was the best thing I've ever seen. Stop telling me about it. I wanted to be there. But yeah, so I'm very excited about that. And seeing them on a big stage, because the last Sleep Token show was booked before they were big. So it was booked before the Summoning came out. But then the Summoning came out after it had been booked. So I got to see, like, Take Me Back to Eden, Sleep Token in a tiny venue. It was incredible, just like super intimate and amazing. Yeah. So now I'm looking forward to seeing a very different, grand version. So that's gonna be good.
Yeah, they're gone now. They'll never play those gigs again. They're just massive. No. Although they're the kind of band that might do the odd special secret gig thing, but good luck getting tickets for any of those shows. We've learned over the time that if you like a band, you have to try and go see them as soon as you can, because they may end up just exploding and you'll never get that close, feeling that's a little bit different. What's the gig scene like in Australia? How many gigs are you getting per year that you can check out that are either on the Australian band side, but also the international ones?
Post-pandemic, there's too many. I'm having to miss shows. Everyone just has decided, like, all right, like, we can travel, we go into Australia. So there's so many, I can't go to everything. I just missed Landmarks with North Lane and Error the other week, which desperate to go to, but I've got to make the decisions. That was when I chose Mudvayne over that one, because I've seen North Lane a bunch and never seen Mudvayne. So it's so hard coming up the same night as, have you heard of Butterfly Effect?
Is that a band? You can tell by my answer that I haven't.
They're like the Australian prog gods band.
Comparative bands would be... When you say prog, I think like Tesseract or Periphery.
Yeah,
what kind
Carnival, Carnival, Tesseract, Periphery. Yeah, that kind of style. But yeah, they're doing like a big comeback show the same night as Bring Me the Horizon. It's just everyone's touring all at the same time. Before that, I know once I kind of left the band, I wasn't going to as many shows. Part of the reason I left was just that, going to a lot of shows to support other bands, playing a lot of shows, doing a loadout, getting home at 4, because you've got to, you hang out and you have a great time and you party with everyone, but then you got to wait till the venue closes. Then you've got to do loadout. We'd have to drive everything back to the drummer's house, unload everything, then getting home super late. So when we decide, I kind of made that decision, like, I think I'm done with the crazy bands live music side. I wanted to be Family Guy. I just wasn't interested. I'd burnt myself out of live shows at that point, so I wasn't going to like local stuff at all. I'd go to the rare, like, I've got to see this band kind of show that came around. But in recent times, I remember Ginger played in Adelaide in January 2020, but I hadn't heard of them. So then I started the Reaction channel 2 months later.
When are they coming to town? Bands. Oh, no.
Yep, turned into one of my favorite bands. And then, so I'm just waiting for them to come back now. But so right now, crazy with shows, trying to pick when I can go to them. But in Adelaide, so I'm in the middle, like the bottom middle of Australia, and we're a capital city, but we're like the forgotten capital city, because bands will normally go Sydney, Brisbane, and Melbourne, which are the east coast, and then we're down the bottom, and then way over on the west coast is Perth. There's some statistic where they're the most desolate capital city in the world, because the next closest capital city is so far away. But so a lot of bands miss us being down here. So a lot of friends, that don't have kids or just have figured out where they can, we'll go to Melbourne a lot to see bands play. Where Limp Bizkit, for example. Yeah, so I've never seen Limp Bizkit. They recently came and played. with Spirit Box as well. So a lot of
Oh
friends were
my
like,
god!
Yeah. They're like, we're going over to Melbourne. I was like, all right, well, I can't do that. So have fun. And then Knotfest, I think, just played as well, and that missed Adelaide. So we're like a big country town right down the bottom.
Do
So
you have a go-to festival per each year that you'd go to in Australia? Because that's a way that over here, Download Festival, I go like a pilgrimage every year, and I see just a shed load of bands in the space of 3 days, which is kind of handy as a dad.
Yeah, it used to back in the day be Big Day Out, and then Big Day Out stopped, and then Soundwave came in. So these were like the marquee festivals, just one day kind of festivals, but morning till middle of the night, crazy bands like back in the day, Slipknot and Rammstein and Tool, and those were the kind of bands coming to those festivals. And then since Soundwave stopped, there are festivals. There's like Knotfest is probably the big one right now, and Good Things Fest as well, but they don't come to Adelaide, so just miss out on those. They just go to the major cities and the like that eastern coast of Australia. So being down here, yeah, we miss out on that. But like I said, there's just so many bands touring at the moment that it's going to dry up at some point. And then I wish that I had found a way to go to more.
Well, hopefully you and your channel can canvas for Adelaide and elevate the profile. Maybe more bands will go there. That'd be great.
Yeah. Although, all right. So last time Architects were here, I don't know if you saw. This is when Josh Middleton was in Architects. I don't know if you ever saw the footage of the fan that rushed him on stage.
I didn't see the footage of that happening. I saw the footage of the aftermath and when Sam was talking to the crowd and stuff. But
yeah, so that was Adelaide, unfortunately. So I wasn't at the show. That was Benny's band's first gig, so I was at a different gig. But one of our friends went from the Architect show and came and met up with us. And he's like, "Yeah, some dude like jumped on Josh and was
horrendous.
Yelling at him." And it's like it's so hard for us to get bands down here, and then something like that happens. It just and that sucks.
Rough.
That sucks because everyone in that room would have wanted to like beat that guy up. No one would support that. But then for a band, they just have that in their heads of like, oh God, Adelaide, that's where.
Yeah, what if that guy comes back?
Yeah, that's where crazies jump on
sucks.
stage. So that's unfortunate.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to chat briefly about is the first time I connected with your channel in a way was your album of the year video from last year.
Yeah.
You had Sleep Token #1, which I think is the correct answer. They were my number one.
Nice.
And I respect everyone, those channels who decided not to put them as number one. I think they were doing that to be contrarian, but that's fine. I think that was the most significant album that came out last year. Number 2 surprised me because it was also my number 2. And I feel a little bit like sometimes I'm on an island with that one, which is Beartooth's The Surface, which I think is a kind of underrated, important record in a lot of ways, but not even just, well, it's got a positive message, but the music is so well honed. And I was surprised by that being so high up because a lot of the people in our sphere of metal reactors tend to go for the more proggy things that are more impressive in obvious ways and less of that kind of polished, catchy, chorusy stuff. But in the intro of this podcast, you said you're a metalcore reaction channel. Is that your first and foremost? That's the kind of music that is your wheelhouse, and then there are edges you explore within metal beyond that?
Yeah, I like balance. I definitely like balance in a song. So kind of over the years, nu metal was, I started into rock with like Korn and then Limp Bizkit, Linkin Park. So I like having songs that have variance and balance. So like I love a heavy breakdown, but then if you've got a deathcore band where the whole song is a heavy breakdown, it doesn't do it for me. Like I need the changes in the song. I need the cleans, the heavies, the variance. I like having balance within songs, and I feel that bands like Beartooth, they have that, and that's the music that I like. I like post-hardcore, Chiodos back in the day kind of styles, where you've got the cleans, you've got the heavies. Songs like Sunshine, where you can have acoustic sections.
Oh,
there's the build of the song, the turn, super heavy breakdowns, and they do these like fun rock downs where they just experiment and play with it. So it's a fun mix on it as well. So that's where I lean with my musical taste. A lot of swancore as well. I don't know if swancore is a term.
I've heard the term, but I have not yet had a definition that I understand. Okay. What is swancore?
Do you listen to Dance Gavin Dance at all?
I have done. It's
Okay.
fine.
So Dance Gavin Dance, the guitarist is Will Swan.
Okay,
Will
that's where
Swan,
it comes
prolific. Yeah. So his guitar style is very,
It's quite busy, right?
yeah. And he's also in many bands. So because he's in all these bands, they all sound similar. So,
Okay.
and he's got Blue Swan Records that he started, and he signs up bands that he's either in or sound like Dance Gavin Dance. So it became its
see.
own kind of genre of swan core.
That makes
And
total sense. I was like, why is there a bird involved? Okay, it's in his name.
So it's the mix of cleans and screams, and Linkin Park was the raps and cleans and screams, and I think Reanimation's my favorite Linkin Park album, which is unusual because
quite
it's
electronic,
a remix.
right?
Yeah, but it's another element, so it's still got heavy stuff, kind of mixed in. And Beartooth for a long time was my number 3. Termina was my number 2. They're just one of my favorite bands. I love.
That's the Nick Nocturnal band.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Nick with
I've
Chris.
not listened. I think I've heard one of their songs. It was all right. It was interesting.
I love their music. They're like just so intricate. The way that they write songs. I've been saying lately, because Nick does all these cover songs, and he's trying to mimic other bands. His problem is that he's too good at music. So he's trying to make content. He's trying to be funny with these songs that he's making. There's a recent one he did where they made a song that's kind of like butt rock trying to, insult dad rock.
Oh, the Octane one. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. I enjoyed it.
Exactly. The joke was, he's putting out posts saying, haha, we got him. They're actually playing House Song, those idiots. It's like, no, you made a great song.
Yeah.
The problem is that they're too good. And when you take away the limitation of being able to play out live, so Nick can play the parts, and he got Chris Turner to do the drums, so he can play anything. But before that, when they were just writing music electronically, there's no thought of someone's going to have to play this live. So when you take away that limitation, it's like this is the extreme of metalcore, where it is so technical, it gets so heavy, and there's no regard for, are we going to be able to do this live? Because there's no plan to do it live. So it's just something about that. When I listen to it, I'm like, this is that extreme that without the limitation. And I really enjoy that and respect that from them.
All right, I'm going to check out their latest album on your recommendation.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's really, really good. But the thing that swung Beartooth to number 2 was I was sitting on the couch with my 6-year-old. He loves rock. He loves Electric Callboy. Whenever we get in the car, he's like, Dad, put Arrow of Love on. I'm like, all right, mate. So we're always listening to metal with him. And he hadn't really watched many music videos. So we were just sitting on the couch. I put YouTube up, and I just started playing through Beartooth songs. And while I was playing these songs and listening, sitting there with him, and he was asking questions, and I was explaining it. Why is he doing that? Why is he like, is he dead? Like when he's in the casket, and it's like, well, like what this song's about is about not having regrets. What he's saying is that when he dies, he's proud of the life he had, like he lived. And as I was explaining all these things to him, I was like, this album is incredible. Like this is a 6-year-old that's asking these questions. It's like, what's a better me? It's like, so he's trying to be the best, he's trying to be the best version of himself. And I'm going through and kind of explaining these songs, and there's so much energy to them, so much positivity. And it's just like, this is what I want. This is the message that I want my kids to be hearing. I don't want to be playing, heavy stuff with a negative message or an aggressive message. I want to be playing hopeful stuff that gives them pride in being who they are and, being a better person. So it was that day where I was like, this any other year would be album of the year, but unfortunately Take Me Back to Eden came out this year.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah. And my kids have also heard, the select songs that I choose to listen to from that album 1,000 times this year. So that had to be that. But I think that Beartooth album, it's my style of music. Like I said, it's the cleans, the screams, but the message is what really came through for me. I start every workout with the Better Me. I've got a workout playlist. I used to put it on shuffle, but now I've put the Better Me as the first track because it always gets me in the mindset of this is what I'm here for. This is what I'm trying to better myself and it kind of just gets me locked in, and I'll always do a better workout when I start with that song. And it's not even the heaviest song. Like the heaviest tracks come later, but I think it's a great starting point.
I couldn't agree more. It is that combination of it sounds like we have a very similar taste. It is my ideal balance of sounds. It has heavy, has cleans and catchiness, but the catchiness is not cringy. I think it's just written melodies and well placed harmonies. It's really good. But also the message of the songs is aspirational, inspirational as well. And I think that's an incredible. It feels important to life. Like every once in a while I think about what would be my 3 songs I'd like to play at my funeral. Sounds morbid, but it's not. One of them is going to be Euclid by Sleep Token.
Yep.
Another one is probably going to be I Was Alive by Beartooth.
Yeah.
That, and then also Phil Collins' Dance Into the Light, which is a great song.
It's all right, so it's funny you say that because I was thinking before, we're both the same age. What were your songs that got you into rock? Like what were your songs growing up? What were your bands? What was your first album?
I've always loved music. I've always wanted to be a drummer. My parents went, "Ha! Here's a piano." So I learned piano for a few years. Eventually, when I was 12 years old, they relented. I got a flyer out of school, and they were like, "They do drum lessons here in Paris." I'm like, "Okay, fine, try it." And then eventually that worked out. I was listening to all pop music. I loved. Well, I was raised on ZZ Top, so it was a bit of guitar influence in there. Dire Straits. Also kind of cool. Huey Lewis and the News. So there's some kind of band stuff that I was enjoying, but also the first album I ever bought was Aqua Aquarium. So very cringe pop. But then around that same time,
the school discos, you had to know the words.
It's a banger. Yeah. Dr. Jones, great song. So at the same era, there was a hit song that came out called Walking on the Sun by Smash Mouth.
Yes.
Which I think for people to get into rock, it has to be gateway drugs that find their way into radio or mainstream TV and the rest. And Walking in the Sun is like, this is cool. My parents like this, so they don't mind if we listen to this in the car a lot. I bought the album, and it's basically a punk album. Like it's proper punk rock.
I don't think I've ever heard it. That's fantastic.
Yeah, Fu Shu Mang is a fucking punk rock album. I bought the version that said it was clean, not explicit.
Yep.
The actual CD was not clean. So my parents were happy with it. I come from like a Catholic family, so my parents were like, we're never buying anything that's explicit. So I had this little disc of gold I could listen to. If I get a window into some more interesting parts of the world, I just rinsed that for ages. And then similarly, Offspring came out with Pretty Fly, which is a big radio hit. You listen to the album, it's a punk rock album. So I got into punk rock. My brother started getting into Korn and Nirvana, and he would allow me, because he was the older brother, to listen to his music. I was going to say, so this is an older brother. So and then I started learning drums at the same time. So I was playing drums along to Nirvana, and the rest, it just went from there. But for the most part, I was into the poppy rock side of things, the Foo Fighters, Blink-182, pop punk like Newfound Glory, The Starting Line. I was well into that. And then later on, I was enjoying some new metal, obviously, Limp Bizkit and the rest. Yeah. And only really in the last 5 years have I been brave enough to venture more into the heavy stuff. A Day to Remember were another great gateway into heavy breakdowns and scream vocals, but it had the clean choruses I could grab onto. And I never thought I'd be in a position to enjoy a song that didn't have a single clean vocal in it. But now I do. It's kind of wild. Something
that shocked me lately, speaking of, those heavy bands, because X-Nay and the Offspring, X-Nay and the Ombre from Offspring, my brother bought the All I Want single on cassette, and that was like the song where I was like, I started listening to it on repeat. But now, because I started there and then moved forwards, so I never went back to anything older. I'm only now listening back through Metallica's discography for the first time. Listening to Kill 'Em All now, after always thinking that's too heavy for me. It's old, it's too heavy. Listening to it now and being like, this is punk.
Yeah.
Like
it's
early Metallica.
Yeah, classic thrash metal is not the same thing as heavy metal.
No, the craziest comparison I had, Sum 41.
Wow.
Sum 41, when they started getting heavier, they're just like, I had no idea, because the imagery that it's associated with those albums and, people with their battle jackets and, like metalheads. And it's just like, oh no, that's scary and that's too heavy for me. Going back and listening now, I'm like, I was listening to way heavier stuff than this. Yes. I was just, scared of it. And I also, because it was old. It was old. I don't want to hear it. It's old and
not my
crap.
generation. How could I relate?
Yeah. And then I've just realized that in high school, when I was in high school, I think Kill 'Em All had come out maybe 14 years before. When my kids are in high school, Hybrid Theory would have come out like 28 years before.
Oh
So
my
Metallica
God.
was much newer to me than Linkin Park will be to them. So that scares
horrifying.
me. It is. It's so horrifying.
But the good news is the scene's in good health right now. There's young bands starting out that have, I love them. There's some great new youths playing metalcore to a really high level. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah. And our style of music's coming back. New metal is back right now.
Deftones has come back. I did not expect that to be that. I mean, they didn't go away. They've always done their thing, but Deftones was this kind of unusual sound that only they did. And now all the bands are trying to sound like Deftones. I don't know how
sexy metal.
Did not expect that. Yeah.
Sexy,
Baddiecore.
cool guy metal. Baddiecore. I love Baddiecore as a term. It took me a while to realize, because that's like referencing Bad Omens, right? Baddiecore?
No, actually.
So Baddie is in like hot chick.
Yes. So when Metal Verb has been on about this. He wants it to be called cum metal because it's like sexy metal. I'm like, sure, that is much more equal in stature.
I can't say that.
It's not something you could say to anyone on the street or your parents. What do you listen to? Cum metal? That's not. You can't do that. But then I went to see Bring Me the Horizon, supported by Bad Omens. So they're in the same Baddiecore genre. Yes. Or cum metal. Well, that's the debate. And at the concert, the demographic of the audience, I've been in metal gigs or rock gigs for decades. That was a very different demographic, and it was in keeping with the baddie of Baddiecore. It was so striking. The people that were there were lots of women there dressed like they're going out for a club night that you'd expect from like 10 years ago or so. They're dressed really like well.
This is the TikTok audience, isn't it? That are picking up their songs from TikTok trends. Is what I'm hearing.
But this is the new gateway, like I would have from Smash Mouth on the radio or The Offspring on the radio. Now the gateway's through TikTok, and if that's the gateway for more people to discover this great music of alternative rock and metal, fucking great. That's fantastic.
Can I say though? I recently did a reaction to Bad Omens live. And the sound, it was one of the best sounding, maybe it's just the recording, but they sounded incredible. Amazing performance, incredible theater, everything about it incredible. The crowd sitting there with their phones above their heads, all of them.
Yeah, that is a risk. I would see
kills the vibe. And that's the audience that they've unfortunately pulled, where and now I'm the old guy standing in the back, so I don't have a leg to stand on, but the atmosphere, I think, can get drained out of a live show where there's this amazing show being put on in front of you and everyone's a content creator with their phone out. And I think I worry about that.
Yes, I could see that. The worst I've seen was, are you familiar with a rap artist called NF?
Yeah, yes.
Went to see them play or perform in London, and 95% of the crowd was holding their phone out and looking at the phone screen for like the entire set. It's like, what are we doing here, folks? What are we doing?
I loved
One
it,
person, I shit you not, had two phones. He had two phones in front of him, recording on both. Who is this person? What are they for? I bet some friend of his, or a friend of his is like, I can't go to the gig, but I have to look like I've been at that gig. Can you take my phone? And I don't know. It was mental.
I always remember Yellow Card did a final tour, and they, like, for Australia, it was like a comeback tour in their final tour. And before they got on stage, there was a big recording that played saying, put your phones away. This is like, we want to be here with you. This is important to us. It's our last time here. This music's been our entire lives. It's been your lives. That's why you're here with us. We want to connect with you. Do not get your phones out. And from putting the message out there was that like groupthink where it's like you didn't want anyone to see you pull your phone out, so no one did. And it was amazing. Like everyone had arms around each other, everyone's going nuts for the show. And I just, in comparison, comparing that to seeing these shows, and I think because Bad Omens are a very, very small case because they've blown up in such a way, like directly from TikTok. with Just Pretend going so well initially.
Yeah.
Luckily, they've got, the talent to back it up, and they've been at it for a long time, so they've got that ability. Going from seeing them do the Too Close to Touch memorial kind of song and the crowd feeling it, and then wanting to see them live again, so watching another video and it's just everyone on their phones, I was like, this is a bad turn for the scene.
It's a pain point. I would see it as hopefully a momentary obstacle, but like that might be people initially coming into it. Maybe they'll learn here's a better etiquette way of doing it. Maybe bands like Yellow Card, maybe people will follow that suit and make that happen. Last year, I think it was, or maybe 2 years ago, probably 2 years ago, I saw Tool play at the O2 Arena in London, and no phones were allowed to, like, you could have your phones on you, they didn't take them off you, but do not film was the message. And security were throwing people out who had their phones out. Seriously, like 2 songs in, security, over to this row, people, grab them, out you go. No conversation, no debate, straight out. And so anyone that was going went, oh, okay, I just won't film. So no one was filming. Throughout the whole set, there was one moment here and there where someone would get their phone out and they'd get ejected. And it's like, wow, this is wild. Because people, obviously, you want to record a bit of it to be like, to remember what it looked like so you can see it years later. But you're like, you know what? Fair enough. We won't film. That's what the band wants. At the end, during the encore, or whatever his last 2 songs, Maynard said, thank you for not filming. We really appreciate that. And as a thank you for this next song, take your phones out and film whatever you like. So you still got to have that moment, but the rest of the gig was a whole live connected experience, which is fantastic. So hopefully that's the future.
Yeah, well, but the bands we're saying, like Tool and Yellow Card, these old bands, is this something that we're holding on to from are we relics?
Maybe, because the newer bands probably want as many films as possible to then push it onto socials and tag the band.
Content,
and, maybe.
Yeah. How do you feel about bands that have to do content? Like bands having to do TikTok trends and viral videos. I understand why they're doing it, but I don't like it.
I feel sorry for them if it's not what they would naturally do. For some bands, that is how they would naturally express themselves, which is great. I was chatting to a new band called Gore in an interview recently. And
they're so good.
Unbelievably good.
Unreal. Yeah, amazing.
Unbelievably good. But yeah, I asked her directly, Haley, like, how do you balance that? Does that come naturally, or is this the new world we live in? She's like, I'm not going to lie. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it's the most authentic thing to do, but it's kind of what you need to do. Posting clips and link to the same single kind of again and again. People go, why are you doing this? I've already heard. It's like, well, this is what you need to do to try and, get more fans to hear you. And like, it is a practical side of promotion these days. And if you can find a way to make it authentically related to what you do, what you care about, which they seem to be doing pretty well, then great. But yeah, it's a new skill they have to learn. It's like when bands have to learn how to use MySpace to promote themselves,
I feel like this is where reaction channels can help bands in that way of like, we'll do this stuff so you don't have to. Because I hate that bands have to do it. If it, like you said, I love how you said that. If that's what they would do anyway, some people have that personality. Yep. Amazing. For the bands that don't, you can feel it. You're watching the video and you're like, they didn't want to do this. This isn't fun. So the hope is that with other content creators, like in Australia, we've got Elder Emo Cult. He does a lot of cool videos where it's promoting bands and doing the memes about bands without them having to do it. So you've got someone that is good at it, knows, their way around it, promoting the bands for them. And hopefully reaction channels can be that, like, reaction channels and meme pages and everything will do that. So you can just do the music, do the performance, be the artist. Because I can't stand it. I don't actually even do my TikTok stuff. I don't have TikTok or anything on my phone. I've got an editor that just does the shorts content because I bowed out. I was like, this is, I don't get it. I don't know what makes something good or not. So I found a guy that's fantastic at it. That now in turn has started a reaction channel from seeing what I do. And he's actually now in the, stop me if you've heard this one before. He's in the initial phase of getting all these requests for Baby Metal and Nightwish. And now he's kind of like in this, we had this big talk about it the other day. He's like, he just made Partner because he got all these views from like Nightwish reactions and stuff.
Yeah,
and he's like,
but now that's your audience.
Yes.
That's the thing.
I said, dude, now that you've made Partner, do what you want to do. Like
Yeah.
you've got to just do the songs that you like. I got when I got to 10,000 on YouTube, I was doing reactions to Nightwish and stuff, and I realized I wasn't enjoying it anymore. So I made that decision of I'd rather have 5,000 people there that enjoy what I do rather than this being another job and me trying to pander to a bigger audience.
100%.
So I actually thought I was going to lose them all because I completely stopped anything that I didn't like. And I was like, all those people are going to go. But luckily it did keep growing. But so I've given him that advice. And to anyone else that wants to do a reaction channel, unless you just want to be like a YouTuber, then I'll give you a list of songs and you can go and get partner and do that way.
Yeah.
But if, I think it's really important for reaction channels so that you've got your own flavor on your channel and what you're doing is to just do the stuff that you like. And then you'll find the people like you that want to hear what you like and you build that audience. I think it's really important.
100%. Twofold. One, to build the right audience for your taste and what you enjoy is far more fulfilling that way. And also it'll prevent burnout if you actually get energy from the things that you're watching and checking out. If you're reacting or making videos that you think are the right thing to do for the algorithm, but they're not really what you want to do, that's not sustainable. It's just not sustainable. And that's how I've operated my channel as well. I saw some comment recently from someone saying, because I happened to in the intro say, all I know about this band is that they're on Sharp Tone Records and they're called this and they're from this place. Let's check them out. Go. And the comment was, you should also react to unsigned bands. Don't just focus on the big ones. I guess all reaction channels are the same. I've not replied because I don't reply to comments. It's a waste of time. But I actually don't give a fuck whether a band is signed or unsigned. I don't care how many views the video is going to get. I don't give a shit. This is a personal vendetta that I'm on to try and discover the best rock music in the world for me. And I don't care about anything else other than what's the music like. So there'll be, I know if I react to the new song by The Cost, Ellis DePario, and upload that's going to bang. But if I don't dig it, I don't care. I'm not going to do that. And I will put out reactions to smaller bands who I know this is going to get like 150 views. I don't care. I think this is good music and I want to put that out there. And the audience that comes to my channel will probably enjoy it. And that's what matters to me.
Yeah. My video today, I think got 50 views. Local Australian band that was back around when my band was around and they've done a comeback at the moment, but I loved it. I love the band. It wasn't even monetized. But again, it's like, because I'm also against the new movement of that's it. We're not doing copyright stuff anymore on reaction channels. I am all for the, like you said, this is the stuff that I like. I don't care if it's a big band, small band, label, unsigned, monetized, copyright, whatever it is. As long as it can be viewable, I just put the ones that are my favorite songs up. And there's like giant videos. I don't know if you know the Sim, the Rumbling was like, I hated that song, but I those reactions get massive views. I think it's a monetized video. So the YouTuber part of my brain's like, that has to go up. But I hated it. It's like, well, I don't want people coming over here because it's going to be people that like it coming to my channel. And then there's me sitting there going, this is so lame. I can't stand this. So videos like that, I'm only trying to put up there stuff that I love to try to bring people that love that music.
Well, I totally respect that. Equally, I respect the folks who are going after, like Metalbird and Drew Fortune are look, I think this year they're trying to do things so that they can monetize all the videos. And I think there's definitely a conversation to be had, and we're trying to get closer to, labels understand the value of what we do, like taking the TikTok-y stuff away from the bands that don't want to do that. We can help, as you were saying, with that sort of thing. But equally, like, I don't think the move should be that smaller bands, for example, should take off the copyright, and they don't make any money from our reactions either. There should be like a shared revenue scheme between labels and content creators so that everyone wins and there's an incentive on all sides. It's complicated, really. But you ultimately, as we chat about, have to do what fills you with joy. What do you like doing? And everything else should be secondary. Like when you start the channel initially, you're not going, or at least, I don't know, this is my experience. Man, I hope I can make as much money as possible and do get all the copyright claims off and the rest. I'm doing it because I love the music and I want to share my love of the music. But things change as you grow and you get more influence than the rest. It's going to change how you perceive your role in the scene. And we're in a bit of a new world with this stuff, so we're all kind of figuring it out as we go as well.
Yeah, that's 100% true. I remember I delayed my channel for 2 weeks because I had a previous YouTube channel with 60 subscribers and I couldn't lose those 60. I couldn't imagine that I'd get up to 60 again. So rather than start a new channel, I desperately was trying to get this password and get back into my old channel, because the idea of 1,000, like getting partner, was never going to happen for me. I was like, no, I need that channel because it's already got 60. Like, so that the thought of making money was not there at all. But also, like you said, with those guys, like Metal Burb and Drew, I love those guys. They've helped me out a lot in my journey as a channel.
They're lovely dudes.
They are. I am worried because I know of other channels that are doing the same. My worry is, so imagine if you loved movies, and there was like a movie reviewer that you like trusted and listened to, and they suddenly only were doing reviews and recommending Paramount pictures, or and then the only things that are on Netflix, because for something in the background, in this with us, it's things that are copyright. If you start only reacting to songs that don't have copyright, the viewership are only seeing a small window of the music out there now because it's through a lens. And that, like you said, they're fighting the fight. They're trying to get, the needle to change where it is suddenly a shared revenue or something else. But my worry is that they're not showing the full spectrum of the music available anymore. And then when someone goes to their channel, it's like, all right, here we go. Here's another one from the small selection available, because they're not able to do everything out there. And I think that's a tightrope we have to walk and figure out which way we're going to go and what's going to happen with it.
I could see what you mean there, but I mean, already we're having to prioritize. We can't do every single song that's out there, so we're having to do a bit of a filter according to our own thing. But yeah, if you introduce another pseudo artificial filter along with that, then I think it's less the risk for the audience themselves. In my view, it's more the risk for the person themselves. If they enjoy naturally listening to all the bands that include, say, Bring Me the Horizon, but if they know they can't get the copyright off of that, then they're maybe missing out on experience of checking out Reaction to Bring Me the Horizon and seeing what the online community would think of their response to it and the rest. So I think more for their sake, but who knows? I mean, it's very new. We'll see how those things unfold. But I wonder how much of this is the fact that this is not our full-time job. That's a different thing as well.
You know what? 100%. I hadn't thought through that lens either.
I have a stable income, so I don't have to give a shit about the views, and I can really focus on what I'm enjoying. It is probably different with such an unstable revenue source as YouTube is. In that respect.
I've thought for a long time, though, that Burb is probably one of the most important creators for metal on YouTube for the additional videos he does, like top 5 of this month kind of videos where he's delving in outside of just, here's this song and I'm reacting to it. Those roundups. And that's why I started doing like the album of the year videos. I think that those videos are more important. You've got to do the standard reactions. That's the bulk of the channel. But I think it's the extra stuff that he does and other channels do that is the most value for people. Because for those that don't, have the time to listen or watch every video, getting like a monthly roundup of his top 5 songs of this month and top 10 breakdowns and all that kind of stuff. I love that stuff. I think that's super important. I love that they do that. And that's another thing that being full-time, they can do that. They've got the extra time. So we get those extra videos and that extra value from them. So those channels are very important in that way.
Yeah, I would agree, because that helps us signpost what the consensus is generally of like, here's quality, we want to highlight and celebrate this. There's a great space for that. But also the peripheral videos where it's discussion about the metal scene and music and how it's going. And that stuff I think is also really helpful.
Yeah, I was going to say, you guys have the 3-guy channel.
Oh, yeah.
Just started. That's fantastic. Yeah, you've done like 2 or 3 videos on there now?
Yes, we've now called it, finally, a name. It was called Drew Burb OG for a while, but it's the Metal Roundup. And the idea of that is once a month at the moment on average, we kind of get together and chat about what are the hot topics in the music scene, where's the nuance within it, let's have like an intelligent conversation about things.
I love it.
Is good.
I love that kind of additional kind of content within the metal realm. So yeah, I watched the Sleep Token one, and there was another one after. I can't remember what it was, but I've been enjoying those. So I'm loving that kind of content.
Cheers, appreciate it. And this, like, so obviously I have the interview podcast series where predominantly I'll interview bands and artists and things. But at the very beginning, I said I want this to be interesting discussions with people in the music scene. So we can learn more about not just listening to it as a passive thing, but who's active within it. And that's why I'm talking to people like yourself. I think this is a valuable part of, and as I'm saying this, of course I think this, because I do this too, but I think that reaction channels is a valuable part of adding to the conversation and progressing the metal or rock music scene into, hopefully a diverse and inclusive and interesting and creatively innovative space. And I think, so that's why I'm interested to find out, how did you get into this? Because we all have our own stories and the rest. So it's been really great to chat to you. And I've used up way more of your time than I intended to. So
I was just thinking, I at many points had forgotten that this was a recorded thing. I've just been having, like we were saying before, like reactions. You're being recorded. It can't be real. It's just such a great talk, such a good time getting to know you and talking to you about all this stuff, and both being in this very niche world. I've loved the chat. I hope I haven't said anything to offend anybody, because I have not been thinking about this anyone else watching this.
I don't think so, because all I've heard about you on the internet from anyone that mentioned, like, I'm going to be interviewing RoguenJosh, everyone's just like, he's such a nice bloke. Or in comments, I was at this gig seeing this band and I met RoguenJosh and he was so lovely. So I think you're not at great risk of saying things that are controversial. And certainly I've not noticed anything.
Excellent. All right. Nice.
So I guess the final question before we go, what is in the pipeline for your channel? Do you have an idea of where you'd like to take it in the future? Or is it very much I'm enjoying what I'm doing right now and we'll just see where it goes?
I'm desperate to do different kind of content. I've been in like a coast mode ever since baby number 3 was born.
Totally understandable.
Totally it was understandable. Initially a 6-month plan to just do the stream reactions on my main channel, just to get through those first 6 months. Then I found that I was enjoying it more. The videos were better. But, as of next month, he's going to be going to childcare. My wife's gone back to work full time. Regular life is coming in. So there was a few things I was doing just before everything went crazy that I want to get back to. Like, my favorite video didn't do very well at all, but Hybrid Theory from Linkin Park, the bass player wasn't in the band photo on the back cover of the album, and I'd always wanted to know. So I did a video where I just sat down and said, I'm going to right now, like, I'm recording the screen. Let's find out why Phoenix wasn't on the Hybrid Theory cover. So I recorded like an hour, didn't edit down to like 10 minutes, and then put it out. Why wasn't Phoenix on the Hybrid Theory cover? Things like that. I'm desperate to get back
watch
into.
That sounds interesting.
Thank you. I loved doing it. It really didn't do well, but it's my favorite video that I've done, and I'm looking forward to getting back into that kind of content when and if I ever have the time to do that kind of stuff again. I just did another one just as a little test on my second channel recently, because during stream I was talking about Broadway, the band, and why they kind of fell off after their huge debut album. And then afterwards, like, I just talked about it for about 5 minutes. I'll just put that up, on there. So I would love to bring that kind of conversational, almost like historical scene kind of video out. So that's something I'd love to bring back. And also, I had a podcast back in the day, the Alt Music podcast. I famously had Nick Nocturnal on the pod, and an hour into the video realized that the audio wasn't recording his mic. So then we had to rehash. So what was supposed to be an hour, he hung out with me for 2 hours, and we redid the conversation.
That's good.
He's the best guy, for doing that. But I just haven't had time. So that's another thing that maybe one day I'd like to get back onto, because I love doing this. Like I said, I forgot we were recording. I was just like, this is the best.
Yeah.
Talking metal.
Wonderful.
Love it.
This is it. Yeah. And in part, it's nice to connect with folks that do this very niche thing that we do as well, because it can feel a very solo endeavor at times. So that's very cool. And all that sounds great. And it sounds like, and I'd encourage this, that those things are in keeping with doing the things you would enjoy doing. Views regardless. Do what gives you energy, so that you can sustain this and do it long term, because I'm sure your viewers would say the same thing. Enjoy what you're doing. So I don't want you to burn out and stop doing it. Keep to do something that's sustainable, so you can keep being an important part of the metal scene online. Appreciate what you do, man. Thanks for the chat. See you.
You too. Thank you so much. Thanks for the invite. I love it.
Well, I hope you enjoyed listening to that conversation I had with RoguenJosh as much as I enjoyed having it. What a lovely, interesting, and personable dude. So definitely do go check out their channel on YouTube. I'll make sure I add a link to that in the description of this episode. If you'd like to talk to me about this podcast or other musical bits and pieces, then there's a free Discord server that you can join. You can talk to me and other like-minded individuals who are into this kind of alternative rock and metal world along with us. So thank you very much for watching or listening to this. If you enjoyed it, make sure you subscribe to the channel, whatever podcast platform you've enjoyed this on. And perhaps you'll come and join me for a future episode with another interesting individual in the alternative rock and metal universe.